This is In My Lounge Room, and I'm your host, Sky.
And I'm your host, Damo, and on this week's episode, we're discussing loneliness and desperation in roundabout terms.
Hey, Damo.
Hey, Sky, how you going?
Oh, look. Same.
I'm just going to remind you, I know we haven't recorded for a while.
Yeah.
And even though we are on, we're on Zoom and I can see your face, no one else can. So doing a little dance when I ask you how you're doing, that's...
So everyone should just assume there was musical theatre hands. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that anyone who listens to this show by now can assume that there is a lot of Sky animations going on.
Always.
Because I always do. I tend to draw attention to it when you do it as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So for those playing along at home, Sky just did the little jazz hands thing and a little happy face. So, yeah. So that's my answer. How are you doing? Jazz hands, happy face.
Woo! Yes. Love it. Honestly, can I be truthful?
I expect you to.
Yeah. I would say I'm good, but I am over co-parenting that is bullshit co-parenting. That's all I'm going to say.
My knowing. Yeah. Well, I don't blame you because, not going to lie, I don't get to... I'm going to use the word experience, but I don't get to experience the same level of bullshit that other single parents do, because my daughter's mum is a rational and decent human being.
Yeah.
So that as I've discovered does make a massive difference.
I think it does. Yeah.
Did you like the use of the words rational and decent?
Yeah, because I have felt zero rational moments in response, like my ex has been responding lately. Zero.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously we're not here to...
we're not here to ex-bash.
To just... Yeah, or to speak ill of people who can't defend themselves.
Correct.
But, and so we've got to be careful with our... defamation, but you experience a very high level of struggle in your communication is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I don't, in my job, I have to struggle through poor communication with people who don't know how to articulate themselves and can't think further outside of the little box that they're living in and the world that they've created for themselves.
I think I married a narcissist. Most people marry axe murderers, but I married a narcissist.
I was going to say, is that like an early 90s
reference
comedy movie? So
yes.
I married a narcissist.
Should have been with Mike Myers.
He took my car and my job. Yeah.
Yes. And my narcissist ex-husband has remained a narcissist. So,
yeah, okay. I think it's more common than people would like to admit too. That like people are so caught up in their own worlds that they don't realize that by doing that they are actually treading on others. So they could be deliberately trying to make life hard for people, or they could just be oblivious freaking idiots.
Well, I'm going with option A.
Yeah. Then that is true narcissism, because they're denigrating the worth of others in order to,
make themselves feel better.
Make themselves feel special. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, I've had a bit of a rubbish day in relation to that. So, but other than that, my week's been good. So, what about your week?
Well, it's my
You've
week.
waited patiently?
It's Tuesday.
Oh.
It's good. Yeah, I've like, I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint maybe 4, 5 occasions. I'm like, hey, I'm really keen to record. Oh, me too, Sky. How's tonight? Yeah, no worries at all. Okay, no worries. Well, I don't have anything else on, so I'll just wait for you to message me because I know you've got the boys and I know you've got, you got to go to the gym and stuff. So it's all good. You message me when you're ready. Next day. Oh, sorry. Fell asleep.
And I have,
So I think
though.
Sky's developed narcolepsy.
It's just because I'm walking Ruby super early and then I'm just lying in bed with Benjamin and then I'm waking up at like 2 a.m. It's really bad.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we've all been there as parents.
Also,
'cause,
I have gone back to
you
taking
lay down for a
iron.
cuddle.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
I've been very
That'll
low on
help.
iron because obviously I've been back to being a vegetarian for like 8 months now. And
Yeah.
I think my body's finally gone. You can't just take iron when you feel like it, Sky. You have to take it every day.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
fair enough. Especially when you've like set the precedent.
Yeah.
How's your protein intake going?
It's not too bad. It's bloody hard to get your protein up.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
I don't drink dairy, I only have like a bit of yogurt. So I'm relying on like protein powder and protein bars, but I don't want to have too many of them. So it's tough.
Yeah. And you don't like eggs.
Ugh.
I eat so many eggs.
I hate eggs. I've never liked eggs. Ugh.
I've
disgusting.
had 4 eggs today.
Gross.
Yep. I have eggs for breakfast, and then for dinner, I had leftover soup broth from the
I saw.
ramen that I made. I had like a nice dashi
With
broth.
eggs.
And dashi is made with kombu and bonito flakes, which is fish. But then tonight, I just heated up just the broth, and when it's about to come to the boil, so it's below boiling, so we're saying around the 80 to 90 degrees, you just crack some eggs into it and stir it, and then they cook in it and they separate, and you get all these little floaty bits of egg through it, and it's called egg drop soup. It's a Chinese thing, and it's freaking delicious. But you have to like egg.
You do.
Because some of them are a bit snot-like, It's like... It's like oysters, it's like little pieces of oysters
Oh,
kind of
stop
floating
it.
around in your...
Eggs. I've never liked
oysters.
eggs. Have I told you how my egg?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it, yeah.
I know you're awful. Have I told you where my egg sort of dislike has come from? It's genetic.
No.
I'll tell you. So I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
Okay. So my mum's Tasmanian.
Genetic, like psychologically genetic, or like actually this is... Yeah. As in influenced by your
Yes,
parents.
but
So
totally
we'll
genetic.
just make that. So not actually anything to do with DNA.
No,
But
nothing
go on.
to do with DNA.
Go on.
Nothing. But
Okay.
genetic.
Please, Dr. Sky.
So mum's Tasmanian. That says it all, really. Anyway, she as a child I'm pretty sure it wasn't summer.
Can I just interject because we have listeners overseas.
Yeah.
So for those of you who say from the US, for example, Tasmania is our Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not. Tasmania is actually a lovely place
it's
full of
beautiful.
wonderful people.
Yeah.
Rockingham is our Florida.
Correct.
But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
sorry.
So as a child, she must have seen a very old-fashioned Roadrunner cartoon or something. I mean, this is the early 1960s. So she decided to crack an egg on the pavement at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's sort of cooked. And then her mum found out and she said, well, now you have to eat it. So she made her eat it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, she made her eat the egg.
Mm.
And then that was it. Mum never served us eggs. She hated them. And now I hate
Is that
them.
because like her mum didn't want her wasting food?
Yeah.
So it was like, well, you're gonna eat it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that when it's hot, that's a thing you can do in
Yeah.
places like Australia or Arizona.
Yeah, maybe
Fuck,
not.
How hot's it been over there, by the way?
Yes, very hot.
No shit. Last week,
Yeah.
it was like 117 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm like, oh, how hot's that? That's 47 degrees, which is fuck off hot.
That's crazy.
That is hot.
I know, but there's
That's like
no climate
hotter
change.
than Perth hot. Oh, no.
No, climate
not at all.
change doesn't
No.
exist. Yeah, we're fine.
Polar caps aren't melting. No. That's all good.
Yeah, but so Hobart,
Yeah, so how did that relate to you then?
well, Mum just didn't serve us eggs really. She hated eggs. She hated anything with eggs, and so she rarely.
What about pancakes?
Yeah, I can eat anything where the egg is cooked. So like a cake, but
Where you
where I
can't
can,
see the egg, so like cakes, pancakes.
yeah, but where I can smell or the texture, ugh.
Fried rice?
No,
It's quite
disgusting.
firm in fried rice.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. I always ask for
wow,
like
okay.
vegetarian fried rice without the egg.
Hollandaise sauce?
Disgusting. Mayonnaise and any type of sauce like that is disgusting.
Mayonnaise?
Gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, because I suppose mayonnaise is like raw eggs
And oil.
mixed with oil. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, which is pretty great. Okay, that's fascinating. So it's just that but by not having them, is that what made you? Oh, geez, I'm delving into some deep psychology here. Is it just not having them that made you disgusted by them, or did your mum tell you they were disgusting?
I mean, my sister doesn't like eggs either.
We're not having eggs. Yeah, okay. So she
Yeah.
had the same influence.
So I feel like
What about your dad? Did he
Dad
like eggs when
loves
when your
eggs.
mum and his dad were together? No. Yeah.
no, Dad
Okay.
loves
Maybe
eggs.
that's
Mum
what
would
happened.
make
Yeah.
him eggs, but not us
Okay.
eggs. Yeah.
Right. Okay. She had no power over what he ate.
Yeah. She had all the power over us.
See, that kind of, that reminds me of my mum because when mum was a little girl, she got poisoned eating maize.
Oh, okay.
Maize it's cattle feed,
Yep.
right? And it was pickled for seed, right?
Okay.
And it was sold at the local grocer or whatever as corn.
Mm-hmm.
And so her mum's cooked it and my mum's eaten it and mum got food poisoning, got violently ill. So just the smell of corn, the sight, the thought of corn makes her gag.
Yeah.
Yet I never went without corn growing up because mum just made it for us. And like she told me as an adult that she would gag the whole time she was cooking at corn, but she knew that it was a cheap and easy, healthy vegetable to serve kids that will eat because it's sweet. You know,
Yeah.
like there's certain
Yum.
veggies, like you choose your battles. You're like, you know, if my kids, if there's one vegetable that they eat, that's the vegetable
Yep.
they get. You don't need to force them to eat every kind of vegetable.
Nope.
But if there's one that they'll eat, they can eat that one.
Yep.
I think for years, Billy, the only vegetables she would eat were capsicum or cucumber. So I'm like, cool, that's what you're having with every meal then.
Yep. Yeah, my boys are the same. They're getting better, but they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I will cook eggs. I've tried cooking eggs for them because I'm like, well, I don't want to stop them. I cook meat for them, and I'm not eating meat. But Mum just rarely cooked eggs for us. So and she told us a story, and she'd be like, eggs are disgusting. So now I think eggs are gross. And she'd be like, oh, I can smell the yolk. Whoa.
I'm going to take control of things for a second here,
Sure.
and we're going to have to move on
Okay.
to the actual what we came here to discuss. But I will just note that we're 20 minutes in, although the first few minutes was us just making sure we were recording
That's
and
true.
whatnot. And also, we haven't had a good chat apart from messages for a while, so
That's
I
true.
will acknowledge that. But I wanted to just go back to the sorry, what were you just talking about? Cooking for kids and something you said for Joshua.
Vegetables.
I had something insightful. Yeah, I had something insightful to say
Ah.
about vegetables and kids. I think it was going to actually change the world
Oh.
and solve. It's an answer to world peace. And,
Well,
and
that's all we
hunger.
need.
But anyway, it's
gone.
gone now.
Okay.
Shit. What was I going to say? It doesn't matter now. I feel like well, you know, when I'm editing this, I'm going to hear the thing that we were talking about, because the only reason I acknowledged that we're going to have to move on is just to remind myself that we're going to have to move on, and then I was going to just keep talking anyway.
And now you can't.
Which is what's happened.
Yeah.
Well, I am. We're doing that regardless because we've already gone a minute past that point. So, yeah. No, it's good. It's good to catch up. It's important to talk about, eggs and exes, and that makes me think of that song. My exes and they haunt me like
Oh, yeah.
something's on the down. They stalk me. Who sings that?
I don't know.
X's and O's. Doesn't matter. It's not Lord. I know that.
No, it's not, Lord.
I don't even know why I said that.
I don't know either.
Hey. No.
That's what.
I haven't got my tickets to Gareth yet either.
Oh,
But I will. It hasn't sold out. I checked. I'll
Okay.
get them tomorrow. I just
Okay.
completely forgot.
I mean,
so I'll
I
get a
may have bought mine.
I
Like,
shall purchase. Oh, you were lining up. Like if it was 1993, you would have been down at the entertainment centre, sitting outside the box office, waiting
with my
for it
pillow.
to open.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I love Gareth.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he liked your comment as well,
Woo!
which sent you into a rapture. It's like, oh my God, Gareth Reynolds knows I exist.
I know, right? It's very exciting.
And then you're like, oh, I'm going to be sitting in the front row with a Gareth Reynolds, I love Gareth or Marry Me Gareth's shirt, and I'm like, yeah, I believe that you would do that.
I totally would.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's a small venue. You might get to meet him. Actually,
I bloody
just make a point of
better.
it. And because you know he's very big on the crowd work.
I know.
Just make sure you yell out.
Okay.
Just yell shit, and he'll be like, "What's your name?" And you'll be like, "Sky."
With my Marry Me Gareth
twirl
t-shirt.
twirl your parasol.
Yeah.
All
of that.
and drop your hanky.
Oh, I'm gonna do it
God,
all.
we're talking about old people flirting at work today. Actually,
What? As in
it was
you saw
actually
some?
no. I was having a conversation. Fuck. Okay, so I was going to stop myself because we were having a conversation about something inappropriate in a work context,
Yeah.
not a workplace context, but in a job. You know what? Anyway, so we're talking about someone. Oh shit! I can't say. I'm gonna have to stop this. I can't.
Okay.
I can't talk about what I
Okay.
do. I could be saying things that I'm not allowed to say. All right. So, because you all know that I'm actually in the Avengers, so
You are.
there's
Same.
some things we can't talk about. Yeah, that's
Same.
it. So anyway, several moons ago,
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
We were just kind of like, it was around episode 2, actually, version 1 of episode 2 of the Beck and the Catfish story. So several moons ago,
Yep.
we were recording, and I was about to say I've received some good feedback
Cool.
on the Beck and the Catfish, along the lines of, what in the holy fucking fuck?
Mm.
Why would she continue
Yes.
to push that agenda? Like basically the same thing that we said,
Yeah.
just going, seriously, why wouldn't you back out?
Every
Why wouldn't you just go, this is fucked, I'm out. Yeah.
every
But
person,
we know why.
Yeah.
Well, we assume why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every person I've spoken to about the 4-part series have all been like, I don't understand why she kept going. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And they're like, everything you've
So-
said is right. I'm like, of course it's right.
Of course it is. We've thought long and hard about it.
Mm.
It was interesting to hear people's take on it, but for the most part, it was kind of people were saying that, they would generally see the red flags
Yeah.
and run away.
Yes.
Hopefully. But we also discussed like that whole, the way that victims of abuse kind of manage things as well. But so in the midst of that, you've contacted me and gone, oh, fuck, I want to talk about something else.
Yes.
what are we going to talk about? And then so I've said the same thing. Well, I'm like, I've got things to talk about. What do you want to talk about? And you mentioned a situation where someone close to you, I'm going to get you to tell the story
tell the
because I
story.
don't quite recall specifically, but it was about exes.
So the story was about the fact that I was talking about something about my ex and how he's had a baby or having a baby. His partner's pregnant, and how I was sad, but not because of being with him, but because of just the baby thing. And then I was like, and I just so we're clear, I said,
Yeah, because you're reflecting on.
Hey,
you're just reflecting on that situation. Yeah,
and more the fact that I always wanted 3 kids. That was what the element was, and then, well, I'll just be honest. I was talking to my sister, and then I said, but there's no fucking way I would ever want to get back with him, ever. And she said, oh, and I'm like, hang on, are you saying that you would get back with your ex? Now, they've been separated or divorced as well for 2 years. He's with another woman. He's cheated on her in the past. And she said, yes. And I'm like, why? Why, after everything he's done to you? And she's like, because I'm lonely and I want to be with someone. I want love. And I was like, no. I mean, yes, like I get it, but I wouldn't go back to being miserable just to be with someone.
Has she got a dog?
No.
Because dogs are pretty loving.
Dogs are great.
Get a dog.
I've got a dog.
I know that's a very harsh. Yes, you do. And when she stays home, she been on any excursions lately?
No, she's good now. We've sorted that out.
Okay, cool. I think. I mean, I'm just going to come out and say it. That is possibly being lonely is absolutely the worst reason. I've got a delay in my ears. Sometimes I say silly things. I listen back to this podcast when I'm editing it and I go, wow, slur your speech there much, Damien? Because for anyone who's ever recorded their voice using headphones, if there's a delay, a perceptible delay between your voice and your ears, and we are over Zoom, it can cause you to speak like a bit of a moron. But anyway, that is possibly the worst reason I can think of to be in a relationship is because you're lonely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, apart from being forced into it, that's a pretty bad reason.
That is a very bad reason.
That it brings to question self-esteem.
Yeah.
Codependency issues.
I think for her, they were together from when she was 16, and that's all she's ever known.
Yeah,
and that makes sense.
Yeah,
and she's never been a confident person. So yeah.
Okay. So that length of time, I mean, we know other people who have only been in one relationship prior to there being a free agent, so to speak. So our mutual friend Sarah, for example. Mm-hmm. Has she ever indicated that was something she would do?
Actually, no, honestly. She
no,
never.
But I think that. But doesn't she also have a relatively good relationship with her ex now?
Yes. Pretty good. She has dated.
So I'm going to swing that around.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on. Yep. She's dated.
Her choice of dating has been interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know that she probably did the same thing that you did when you're first single, is date
everything.
Oh, what's a good term? Yeah, but you avoid marriage material.
Yeah, so
you deliberately deliberately date people who aren't going to want or warrant a commitment from either side. People who you can't see a long-term idea of. But then I kind of swing it around because that's an interesting enough scenario. Is that's all she's known. It's an interesting enough scenario, but like I said, conversely, Sarah's got the same situation, that's not how she is. So maybe it's the way they relate to each other, because like people have asked that question of me of like, oh, you and your ex get along really well. Would you ever get back with your ex? And like, one, not in love with her. Two, the reason we get along so well is because we're not together. You know, if we're together, no, not together, perfectly happy to remain friends. But so that's the opposite. But also I had relationships before I met her, only like short term. I think the longest was like 5 years before I met her. But then yourself, you with your ex for, was it 16 years?
14 years.
Which
So a
is-
while. Yeah.
14 or 16 years for me.
Yeah.
So, and you don't feel that way. You've never felt that way.
No.
Well, as far as I know.
No. I mean, I have my moments where I'm like, I'm over being single, but I've never gone, I definitely get, and you know what? He asks me at least every year.
Oh, I know.
And
Yeah.
even recently, would you take me back? Let's get back together. We're better now. We're more mature, all that shit. And I'm always like, no.
Yeah.
So,
And do you think then, because that brings me to something else, do you think it's quite prevalent in men? Like, do you think that's something that men do more than women? Because I think that a lot of the time when women move on, when women move on,
we move
a
on.
lot of the time, you move the fuck on. Whereas sometimes men, they don't and they can't. Or they're the ones who get to the point in time in their life and they're just like, oh, I want what I had because it's easy.
I think for a lot of cases, like I remember when I went to my psychologist when I was like leaving him or we were about to leave, and she said to me, when a woman says to a man, it's over, it's been over for at least 3 years and it's taken that long to end it. Whereas often with a man, when a man leaves a woman, it's because it's happened quickly. They've either been found out for cheating or they've just decided I'm done. Like mutual is different, but when a man leaves a woman.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say that that's a hard and fast rule, but for the most part, I completely agree. But I also, when you were speaking then and when I was speaking before, it also brought me to the thought of, I heard what I said about it being easy. And do you think that laziness comes into it?
Yes. Dating sucks.
We're not talking about your sister.
No.
I just want to stress that. I'm not talking about your sister.
No.
But yeah, does it just become too hard and it's like the lesser of two evils?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So for me, when I've always been single, I'm just either like happy in dating or happy in not dating, or sometimes I'm slightly miserable. But in general, I'm pretty consistent.
Sometimes you're like, oh, Damo, I'm not doing this anymore. I've had enough of this shit. I'll just be single. Fuck it, I'm getting off the apps. I'm not going to meet anyone. Next minute, so I went on this date.
Yeah, I'm pretty consistent.
Oh, yeah. Consistently inconsistent. Depends how you want to put it. But yeah. But to put a finer point on it, I've witnessed that firsthand and I've experienced it myself as well. There comes a time when you just go, fuck this. It's too much stress on me. It's too difficult. And if you're like, and we know, getting back to your sister, the level of rejection that she's experienced is not something she's had to deal with in her life. And the level of rejection that most women experience and men, or the most single people. Okay, most born-again single people. We're not talking lifelong single people, people who have like chosen to be single, like people in their 20s who are single, who just haven't got to the point where they actually want to be in a long-term committed relationship. That's different. So if you get lonely there, it's kind of like, well, you know, it's a different situation. But we're talking about like older, or not even older, but people who are separated from something long-term and how they perceive loneliness.
Yeah. I think I think when you've been with someone, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, you're sort of reliant on them as company, entertainment, like, and then,
Sex.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you become single, it feels like, yeah, everything's gone.
Yeah. And that's why they call them the other half.
Yeah, I never called mine that.
Neither have I. I don't really.
He was definitely
I
never my
also
other
don't
half.
No, because he's not your equal. For someone to be your other half, they need to be your equal, and he's never
That's
been
true.
your equal.
No.
You know what I don't like?
Mm.
Misso.
Oh,
Like going down the pub with me misso to have a palmy, and it's palmy, not Palmer. If you live on the East Coast and you call it a Palmer, you're wrong. It's a palmy.
Okay.
But yeah, misso. I fucking
Yeah.
can't stand when someone says misso.
do you?
You know
What
how I
about my
feel about
missus?
shortening
Are you
words
okay
and
with?
adding o?
Are you okay with missus?
Mrs. is still not great because it's still like, what's wrong with my wife, my partner,
Do you know what I hate
my
even more?
betrothed?
My old lady.
What?
My old
The
lady.
old lady, me old man, old lady. See, I used
I
to
heard
say
it like a
old man
quack.
about my dad. Like, that's me old man.
Yeah, but I heard a guy talking about his old lady, and it took me a bit to realise he was talking about his wife. I was like, "That's your mum," but okay.
Fuck. Yeah. What about that bloke who called you, what did he call you? Champ a few
Champ.
weeks ago.
Champ.
I mean, of all the things to call people. But yeah, Mrs. is at least, it's actually a word.
Yeah.
Like
misso.
Mrs. whatever. But misso, what the fuck kind of bogan are you? Don't say misso, please.
I've
That's
never
just
heard
weird.
that.
You haven't? I've seen people
No.
write it on Facebook, and
Oh,
fucking, it
gross.
makes me cringe every time. But you don't, at the same time, like, you know, it's obviously a male thing because men will be like, oh, me and the missus, or that's me missus, or I'll ask my missus if I can come and play golf, boys. I'll get permission from the missus. Do women say the mister?
no.
I'll speak to me mister.
I've never heard any woman say that ever.
I've never heard that. Oh, God.
no.
Yeah, so no. Men are inherently bogans. I'm
Really, they
sorry.
are.
Like, there's nothing wrong with bogans.
fine.
Some of my best mates are bogans, but
I'm
it's
from
all
Mandurah.
good, but there's bogan and then there's fucking bogan, mate.
Misso.
But, yeah, anyway, misso. But anyway, getting back on track, one of the last things, because you were saying, you know, there's the things you miss, and I did say sex. You can get sex anywhere at any time. It's an easily enough thing to do. But do you think that people, like that whole don't have sex with your ex scenario, that's another one of those, oh, well, it would be easy because we've done it before. And, you know, can we discuss the dangers in that kind of activity?
That's one thing I've never done, ever.
No, because you know what? If you're having sex with them, they're not your ex.
Correct. Yeah. I just like the idea of when it's over, it's over. There's a cut, done.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's that kind of like, oh, you know, but we were there and we had a couple of drinks, you know, we were having a laugh and the history, and then suddenly my penis was inside her, you know, like accidentally or something.
Oops.
It's just, oops, how did that happen?
Bizarre.
Come on, fuck off.
Yeah. It's
Like
just-
someone, do you think that it's like there's always an intention there?
Yes.
And people use that?
Absolutely. Yes. Like,
I mean, not necessarily always, but yeah.
I think there's always one who's hopeful, and then the other is waiting for that sort of moment,
Yeah.
I think. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's manipulative on one side usually because they're wanting to like dangle that, keep that there, and then bye when they're done with you.
Yeah, that's right. And But that should be an indicator of why you shouldn't be with that person, because the other person is just using you and using the fact that you are like
Still
you're on
in
a
love.
different
Yeah.
psychological level to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when you get that kind of, well, I'm going to use this because this will take care of my loneliness. But at the same token, people do that with strangers too, don't they?
Mm.
They replace like companionship with sex.
Yeah. I did it early on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was also for like a self-esteem thing to make me feel great.
Okay. So it made you feel good from a self-esteem perspective to go, well, I'm in my mid to late 30s and I can pull.
Yeah.
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 It's not about filling a need
No,
for
it never
comfort
was.
and security.
It was like my
And-
self-esteem was rock bottom. I needed to feel attractive again. This is how it's going to work. And it did. It did for a while. It was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't think about, oh, hang on a second, men are just sleeping with me because I'll say I will. You've got to go, yes, they're sleeping with me because they want me.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you know the best profile I ever did? I set it up like it was like a job advert and like apply within by
I've seen that.
Yeah, and apply, and like basically I
Yep.
just said what I want, apply within by swiping right. And then
Yeah.
it was like it was crazy.
I've seen I've seen, I don't date, I audition.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yes. You are
Yeah.
you are auditioning for a role in my life.
Yeah.
So put on your best performance.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between, because we know that quite often, and this is, we are grown adults, and I'm not telling you any secrets, that quite often, like what was the old saying, like for a woman to have sex, it needs to be the right place, the right time, the right person, like all of these factors. For a man to have sex, they just need a woman who wants to have sex with them.
Yeah. Yes.
Or a man who wants to have sex with them. Yeah.
I mean, I think for some that's the case. Obviously, men not. Yeah, but
For a lot. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I think the world's changed a little bit. Once upon a time, it was very much that whole idea of like it had to be about love and it had to be about commitment. But now it can be about whatever you want it to be about, whatever you need. If
absolutely.
it's fulfilling
no,
a
I'm
need
not,
or
Yeah. No, I'm not saying about like it being love or commitment or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like
the mood.
traditionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a woman. I'm talking about, to be crass, the power of the pussy.
Yeah.
Women, and I've always maintained this. Women, speaking of pussy,
Sorry,
I
you
had
said
a
that
cat
as you're
on my
holding a
lap.
cat.
Yeah. So women have always, and they don't realize it, and they should realize it, women hold the cards.
They do.
When it comes to sex. Women historically have felt pressured into quote unquote giving up sex rather than something they want for themselves and they enjoy for themselves. And women these days, young to old, experience sex in a different way than say our parents did, where it was like it felt like an obligation. So there was always this ideal of like, a man at a club has to work real hard to get a girl to sleep with him.
That's true.
Unless he's fucking Brad Pitt.
Different.
But a woman
yeah.
just has to pick a man and go, I want to have sex with you. That's not about women. That's not a reflection on women. That's a reflection on men and how just not very picky they are. Whereas women they have the right to be picky, and you fucking well should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
but a lot
and
of
that brings me, brings me back around to the self-esteem and don't fuck your ex.
Yeah.
You ladies,
Yeah.
you can get sex if you want sex. You don't need to get companionship. Doesn't need to be a part of it. If
Do you
that's
know
what you want.
Well, I look at my mum, for example. Now, I know she's a lot older, but when she and my dad first separated, she must have been in her, if I was in my early 20s, she was in her early 50s, right? No, and he left her for another woman, and then she took him back. And I said over and over, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. And she did, and then it happened again. And like she had that power and she just threw it away. And then her self-esteem was like rock bottom.
Oh, fucking destroyed, yeah. So then that brings me back around then, because you've raised another interesting point about the control.
Yeah.
Is by going back to your ex or going to your ex and like compromising yourself and everything that you've stood for, or wanting them back, are you then handing control to them? Are you belittling yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are showing yourself to be almost a slave to their requirements, to their needs, by returning back to whatever they had over you, or whatever that relationship dynamic was. Yeah. Because obviously, like someone No,
go on. Yep.
I was going to say, obviously someone who cheats is already not a nice person, let's just say, and they've already like lied and manipulated a situation, and then you've returned there, they've got all the power.
Yeah, that's right. So that then brings me to the two scenarios in which people break up, right? Amicably and not. And then in the not side of it, there is two different ways.
Yeah.
I break up with you or you break up with me. Someone makes the choice. Yeah. Amicably is you decide this is going to work together. But apart from that, one person's making the decision. The other person might agree with it. But I think in the majority of cases, the person being broken up with doesn't agree. So then that brings me around to, so let's say person A is the person doing the breaking up and person B is the person who got broken up with. So let's say person A at some point in time goes, yeah, I know you cheated on me and you broke up with me, or I broke up with you, but I want you back. Is that worse than, hey, you cheated on me, or I know we keep saying cheating, but that's just a good example.
Yeah.
But, you treated me this way and you broke up with me, or I treated you badly or whatever and you broke up with me, but I want you back, I've changed. They're the two, the main, like, which do you think is more prevalent? The, I know I dumped you, but I was wrong and I think we could work together, or the, I know you dumped me, but I really want you back.
I think number two.
Number two's more.
You know why? Yeah. Because the person that does the dumping is usually in a better place from a self-esteem perspective and is more confident. The person that's been dumped is low, is lost. And I've seen it more with friends and family.
Where the dumpee rather than the dumper is the one going, oh, God, I just...
Please take me back.
I want them back. I can change.
Yes.
Well, not going to lie, I've been that dude.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm younger, I've been the dude who's gone, oh, but if only I'd known that you felt that way, what can I do to change? Like, I haven't done anything wrong, but clearly they not into me. I've written songs about it, but like... There was someone I was in a relationship freaking like 5 years ago, and when they broke up with me and they just didn't really have a reason for it, I was like, what the fuck? And it was because they didn't have a reason that I was like, oh, but surely we can work it out. What can we do? And she was like, no, it's past working out. We're only together for like 5 months or something, if that. But she's like, oh, no, it's past working out. I've made my decision. And I'm like, oh, but, like, oh, I'll write you a song. And, like, oh, this is show you how I feel. And like, whatever it is that and it wasn't about me. It was her feelings. I went and, I've gotten therapy since then, and that's something I've learned is that you don't necessarily have to have done something wrong for someone else to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
She eventually contacted me and apologized for not communicating with me and blamed herself, which was good for me because it made me go, oh, well, maybe... Well, I know by then it had nothing to do with me. It was her own problem. And then she was actually sleeping with her housemate. So maybe there was guilt came into it.
Perhaps.
But well, I don't know if she was at the time, but there's the insinuation that she was because she was a week later. But yeah, I don't know. Or recently within time frame that kind of made me suspicious. But either way, I did nothing wrong. So at the time, I'm going immediately, I want you back. Oh, look, what can I do? What can I do? It's my responsibility to make this relationship perfect. It's not my fucking responsibility. It's her responsibility to follow her feelings. And if she didn't feel it was right, then good for her. But there's also a difference in having someone break up with you and then beg them to stay, and 2 years later going, I think I want to go back to... I would take... If my husband came knocking, I'd take him back.
Right? That's a long
'Cause
time.
I wouldn't do that.
No.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. You've proven that you can do this by yourself, that you can be independent, that you can... But she said, at night time when I'm home alone, I feel lonely. I'm like, well, find a hobby or date or call me.
Hasn't she got kids?
Yeah, she's talking about when they're at, the dads.
Get a dog.
Yeah. Or a cat.
Go on dates.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like I've said, like going on, dating's hard.
Yeah.
And, we've had this conversation before privately and on the podcast where you do get to a point where you're like, I'm going to fucking give this up.
Yeah.
But you can't.
No.
You just, because then what have you got? You're going to be even worse. You're going to feel like shit. Because it'll be like, what happened? The race you don't go in is the race you'll never win.
I mean,
the competition you don't enter is the competition you guaranteed to lose.
Yeah, that's true. I think the longer I'm single though, it's getting harder to stay motivated. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, wow, it's been 6 years and other than a few sort of small moments, it's been nothing. Like,
yeah, but see, you also, sorry, didn't mean to
that's
cut you
okay.
off. But you also, at this point in time, have the strength and the sense of self-worth to go, okay, I'll give this a go. Oh, this guy's fucked. See ya, buddy.
Yeah.
Or just, actually, what your technique is you sass them.
Yeah, I do.
Or you call them out, or you give them some sort of smart-ass thing to think about. You don't just straight up block people.
No, I don't.
You make them feel it first. And that's empowering. And, like, do that. Like, you can ghost people all you want, but it's much more fun to make them feel like a dickhead, hopefully, before they go.
I love it.
Yeah. So, on that, we haven't spoken the dating life of Skye. Well, we have, like in context of the podcast, what's been going on?
Okay, should I tell my most recent story?
Oh, it's whatever you feel you need to do. It's that part of the show where we talk about bullshit with what that thing what men do.
Woo! Okay.
Why we had an entire podcast. Why are men?
Why?
Take it away.
Well, okay. So I've been messaging heaps, and then I did catch up with one guy a while back, the champ guy. I did catch up with him, and then that just sort of fizzled to nothing, right? So that's fine because he called me champ.
Yeah.
Anyway. let's just say I needed to fulfill certain requirements that happened. I'm good. So
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Move
so-
on. It's all good.
then I matched.
No one's judging you. I might even throw in a bow chicka wow wow. Are you going to want me to remove that?
You better.
Oh my
Okay.
God. A grown up had sex.
Woo! How terrible. Yuck. Okay. So I matched with a guy and
Mhm.
it was started off well, like lots of messaging. We did 2 phone conversations and they went really well, like easy conversation. So it was positive.
Mhm.
This is how long I haven't spoken to you about this for.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we planned to catch up, but he realised that the night we were going to catch up was his brother's birthday, so we couldn't. I was like, that's fine. How about tomorrow night?
Hang
which
on.
is yeah.
Was his brother's name wasn't Jace, was it?
No.
That was the catfish's brother's name.
Oh yeah. No. But
Yeah.
oh my God, maybe
Sorry,
it is the
go on.
catfish.
Yep.
Anyway, oh my God, maybe he always was a catfish. Anyway, so
Mm.
okay, so we couldn't catch up. Then I said to him, what about, I can catch up Thursday, but the problem is I coach at the gym until 6:15. So could we meet halfway? Because he was in Perth, like maybe like Rockingham. And he was like, oh, I've got a better idea. You're going to pick up the boys tomorrow. Why don't we meet in Scarborough? And at the time, because I was going to Hillary's, I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. Except then, as I was going to bed, yes, do you have a question?
I know. I just the penny just dropped. I know what you're doing. I know this story.
You
Keep
do.
going.
I need to tell this story. Everyone
Yeah.
needs to hear it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This was This
Yeah.
was a beauty. But go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I messaged you the whole experience. So then
Yeah.
I went that night, like the Thursday night when I was getting ready for the next morning, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to leave Mandurah at like 7:15 to get to Scarborough by 9. That's crap.
Yeah, because you couldn't. Yeah, and I'd already. I think you had told me at this point that he didn't want to meet up after gym because,
Yes.
or after footy training or whatever
Yeah.
it was, because it was going to be too far for him to come, because you said, oh, I could meet you halfway. And he was like, oh, cool. Well, I could meet you in Fremantle, which isn't fucking halfway
not
to
halfway.
anywhere. No. But at this point in time, I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't like to throw negativity on it too early, because I'm like, I don't want you to think I'm calling every man that you have anything to do with a piece of shit. I kind of let them prove that.
Yeah.
And then I go, what a piece of shit. But this situation, I was thinking to myself, and I didn't share this with you at the time, well, until afterwards, but I was thinking to myself, has he just manipulated her into doing what he wants?
Yeah.
Let's see how this plays out. So the alternative to meeting halfway was you were going to, what did you say, Scarborough? No, you were going to unnamed location.
I was going
to pick
super
up your
far
kids
north.
the next day. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then
Continue.
And then
Yep.
he said, why don't we meet in Scarborough, which is, on the way to where I was going to pick up the boys. And then,
It's on the way to fucking Scarborough. Scarborough's on the way to Scarborough. It is on the fucking beach.
right. It's not even like Leaderville. Leaderville
No.
is sort of okay.
It's the freeway passes through Leaderville.
Right. Exactly.
Literally straight through the middle of it. You got West
It's a
Leaderville on
train.
one side and Leaderville on the other side. Yes.
It's a train station.
There is a train station in Leaderville.
I could get
yes.
off at Leaderville, go and have a coffee and get back on.
Yep.
Not Scarborough. You have to get off the freeway and keep driving.
Although, if you're driving from, let's say, Fremantle to Marmion
Yes.
along the coast,
Yep.
Scarborough is on the way. However,
Wonderful.
from Mandurah to anywhere north, Scarborough's not on the way.
It's not.
Go on.
And let's add peak hour traffic and
Yeah. And
a lot of rain. A lot of rain.
fucking raining. It was the week before last, and we got
Yep.
a stupid amount of rain that 2 days.
It was like, and it wasn't torrential.
It was when it
but
rained
was
for like 4 days
constant.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was-
but if anyone's driven from like up the Kwinana Freeway in the rain, it's not a fun drive.
No.
It's not a fun. Okay, let's put the two factors here. Driving up the Kwinana Freeway in peak hour traffic in the morning is something I would not wish on my worst enemy. Driving on the Kwinana Freeway on a fucking Sunday afternoon is bad enough. Peak hour on the Kwinana, you can fuck that with a stick.
Yeah.
That's
Hey.
awful.
That stick's got barbs because add fucking rain.
Add rain. Exactly. Yeah. Raining. You got to drive past. You drive past because you're driving along the river, and that I know
Yeah.
it's only a short period of time, but people can't handle the wind. Comes, it blows the water off the river onto the freeway, and people lose their fucking brains.
do.
So we got 3 factors here. We've got peak hour traffic, we've got rain, and we've got Perth.
Yes.
Perth drivers.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And
it's
my
raining,
shitty
I can't
car.
do this.
And my shitty car.
Yeah.
Which he didn't know about,
Yeah.
but you know about.
Oh, it
Right?
doesn't matter. I know. But anyway, so you're driving to Scarborough, trying to get there by
9.
what? 9. Okay.
Yeah.
So on a good day, perfect traffic, no rain, no peak hour traffic.
Yeah.
What would an estimate? I might do it right now. Like if
Probably,
I go to
I'd say
Google.
maybe, I'm going to say an hour and 3.
Okay, that's a pretty specific kind of estimation there. I've opened the wrong app, but like I should just Google time to drive. You're doing it. Time to drive Mandurah to Scarborough. How long is that?
59 minutes.
59 minutes. Okay, so approximately as long as it takes for me to drive from here to your place.
Yeah.
Give or take. I think it's 54
Keep
minutes.
in mind,
so 59 minutes.
8:22 at night. So
That's right. So in peak hour, add a reasonable maybe 20 minutes to that.
Easy.
Half an hour.
Easy.
Who knows? In rain, maybe add another 20.
Yep.
Which means if you wanted to be there by what, 9:15?
No, 9. I left at 7:15.
9. So if you wanted to be there by... Right. So you have allowed a very reasonable hour and 45 minutes to do a 59-minute journey.
Yep.
That's very reasonable. I'm just going to highlight that because we're going to circle back around to Sky made a very reasonable allowance of time.
Yeah. Now, I did have to get petrol, but that's why I allowed that amount of time.
So petrol takes 6.5
minutes?
minutes.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I realised I was going to be late. I could tell, like I just knew it was taking forever. And then I got to Scarborough and it was about 7:15, 7:14, and I couldn't find this fucking
9.
cafe. Hey?
9:15, not 7:15.
Sorry,
You were there at 7 o'clock in the
9:15.
morning.
And I couldn't. So there was this random cafe that I'd never been to. I didn't realise it was underneath where the pools are. So,
Okay. Yep. I know the one. Yep.
yeah, I haven't been to Scarborough in forever. So,
Well, that's only been there. The pool's only been there for like 5 years or so.
yeah, but I can't remember the last time I went
Like,
to
not
Scarborough,
long.
probably when I lived in the
Yeah.
north. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I messaged him and I said, hey, I've just arrived. I'm looking for the cafe. Like, traffic was terrible, right? And I couldn't see him at the cafe, and then he calls me. And he goes, oh, hey, I've left. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just assumed you were 15 minutes late. You stood me up. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, well, I probably would have, maybe you should have called or messaged me. And then he said, oh, look, I'm about 10 to 15 minutes away. I can come and meet you now. And at that moment, after having a shitty drive and turning up at fucking 9 o'clock in the morning on my day off, I was having a day off, I went to him,
Yeah.
you know what, I got to pick up the boys in like an hour and a half. I'm just going to go to the shops. And then he was like, okay, whatever. And then he messaged me a photo of him, like his coffee in the window of the going, see, just to show you I was here, but I just assumed you stood me up. And then I messaged back going, it takes 30 seconds to send a message or call someone. And then he unmatched me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I remember someone, like you posted about your little story
Yes.
on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And someone, I don't know if it was a friend of yours.
No, I don't know who the person was.
Just a random on the internet
Yep.
has said, oh, well, you could have called him and told him you were going to be late. And my comment on that was, yeah, because like, you know, prioritizing messaging some guy or making a phone call while you're driving in peak hour traffic in the pouring rain. That's a really smart thing. You should prioritize contacting this man over your own safety.
Yeah.
It's entirely your fault, Sky. But yeah,
Yes.
me personally, so I'm putting myself in his shoes.
Yep.
One, I wouldn't have done it.
No.
I wouldn't have made you responsible for coming all that way, even though there was well, I'm already going to further north than that. I'm going, he said, you're already, if you're going to be going there, why don't we meet up? And I suppose on you could have said, we're only going to have like an hour to meet. That's too much of a squeeze. No, but you went, okay, because he had made it okay. Like
Yeah.
he'd made you go, yeah, well, that's the alternative. I guess if I want to meet this guy, this is what I'm going to have to do because he's not prepared to come halfway to meet me on a weeknight, so I'll drive up there. There is really nothing wrong. Like, let's say all that aside, I'm sitting at a cafe waiting for someone. One, I don't order a fucking coffee until you get there because that's rude. I wait till you get there and then I'm like, I'll grab a coffee. It's a mess. But you go, it's 15 minutes late. Well, she is driving from Mandurah. It is raining. Oh, I'll just message and maybe I'll give her a call and make sure she's okay. Not even because you said to me, oh, I could have messaged and asked me if I was still coming. No. We'll go a step further than that. He could have been a considerate human being and actually inquired about your well-being. Like, oh, is everything okay? That's all you need to say. You know, oh, you're not here yet. Is everything okay? And then you could go, sorry, sorry, I've just arrived in the car park. I'm trying to find someone. Whatever. And yeah, when you got there, you could have messaged him, but you were operating a fucking motor vehicle in the rain. So I'm not going to put that on you. Yeah, I'm not going to put that on you. Yeah, a motor vehicle that I know if you don't, in certain circumstances, if you don't maintain the right amount of revs, just decides to stop. It's just one of those things with your car. It has quirks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think that it's not unreasonable for you to expect him to at least wait. Like, I don't know if I'm just like, maybe it's either two things. I give people the benefit of the doubt or I'm too compliant. I don't know. But I'd just wait. It'd have to be like an hour before I left. If I was at a date, 15 minutes is not enough for me to go off being stood up. An hour, because let's say I've got dinner booked, it's normally 2 hours. You get an hour into a dinner booking, they come over and they start going, are you sure because we could give this table to someone else, like then just 15 minutes? Nah, man, people can, like, Jesus. 15 minutes.
What pissed me off was that he made it in the end my problem by being all like, you know what I mean? I felt like he tried to manipulate it into being my issue, not his issue.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also displayed his insecurities. Like, oh, I thought I'd been stood up. Why? Because you've stood people up yourself, or because you've been stood up before? Give people a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
15 minutes is, Jesus Christ, that's a long shower. I mean, it's an inappropriately long shower,
Yeah. But an amazing
but you know,
shower.
I've had 15-minute showers, for fuck's sake. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's really nice to just stand in there against,
Adios.
you know, and then your dad's banging on the door. You're not paying for the free. You can pay the water bill this month, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
That's
you get
okay.
older and you realize that, you know, the environment needs water
Yeah.
and shit.
That's
But
true.
yeah, it's that's my biggest problem is, dude, you bailed. You didn't go, oh, I'm bailing. Like, even then, that would be enough to go, oh, look, you know, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then you could go, hey, man, I'm just around the corner. You ring him and go, sorry, I was on the freeway or whatever.
Yeah.
I was dealing with all these idiots. But yeah, I'm just repeating and harping on, and, you know, but I think it was lame.
It was, but like all I can think of is I dodged a bullet with that one. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
all the red flags were shown right there.
Yep. And that, coming back around to the last 4 episodes, that's what you do. If there's a red flag, fucking set it on fire and walk
Yeah.
away.
What I could, and I did
That's
do
it.
musical theatre hands with that too. What I could have
Yes, you
done
did.
is I could have waited and gone, and he could have come back and we could have had a coffee. But at that moment, I went, fuck off.
Can I just also bring something up that you said to me that I almost told you off for as well? I think I did tell you off when you were like, oh, now I'm like, because we spoke, you're on, and I know this sounds contradictory. Yes, you did talk to me on the way there, right?
Yes.
But it's not like you called and it was all good. We'll pretend you were
Also,
safe. You know, you were
just a
getting
quick
through.
one. Whenever I'm on the freeway and I'm stressed, I do call you because you managed to calm me down.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit different. But you'd said something like, oh, and now I'm in a bad mood. Oh, and now I'm all stressed out because I'm late and the weather and blah, blah, blah. I think this must have been after he'd said I don't know, I can't remember what the context was, but you're like, oh, now I'm all stressed out and I'm going to have to be on my best behavior or something to that effect. I'm going to have to fake a smile. And I just went, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're going to fucking turn up there and you're going to be yourself. And if you're pissed off and you're not in a good mood because of something shit happened, then you're going to let him know. And if he can't handle that, then red flag.
True.
Please.
Yeah.
This is
And-
for everyone.
Yeah.
Don't fake who you are on first dates.
That's very true. And I don't. And I think when I'd gotten there, I was in I was tired from driving. I was not good. I would have been very much me. And then, I was on the phone. I was like,
Yeah.
I was 100%.
And fuck it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Shit happens, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't, you know, the one you miss out on is the one you never catch up on. So
Exactly.
move on to the next one. All right, so we should probably wrap it up because it's
Okay.
been quite a lengthy exercise. There's still plenty of things we can talk about, but you know
So
what?
many.
We can do that next week.
We can.
So you got to get onto our social media on
Yes.
the Instagrams. It's pretty easy to find us. It's in my lounge room.
Yeah.
And everywhere else.
Facebook,
what else
In My
have we
Lounge
got?
Room podcast.
Facebook. Yeah, I'm thinking about the email address. You can contact us by email. I can't remember what our email address is.
skyanddamo@gmail.com.
Oh, it's skyanddamo@gmail. I was about to say the password.
No.
No.
Now, can I just say now, can people please follow, like, rate us, share, tell your friends, because by, like, following us and giving us a star rating, that helps.
And also, can I say, because we had some, you know, bad experiences back in the early days where we didn't have many reviews on the board. So it's a law of averages. You can have like 10 5-star reviews and then someone gives you a 1-star. Suddenly that drops you right down because of the average. So if you're going to leave us, some stars on, Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to us, don't bother unless it's 5 stars, please.
Yep.
Because why would you even leave a review? You know what? You know what I do with things I don't like? I don't listen to them.
Correct.
If you're listening to this podcast and you like it, you are obligated to give us a 5-star rating.
Yes.
And also you'll notice on the podcast when Sky puts it up, it will be a what do you think about this week's episode on Spotify. You can make some comments on there about it if you want.
Totally.
Please be nice. But another one is if you leave us a review, maybe say something funny and we'll read it out.
Yes.
But only if you give us a 5-star review. So if you've got something you want read out on the show, whether it be a shout out, you might want to propose to your significant other. I don't know. I'll do that for you. Give us a 5-star review. We will read your nonsense.
Yes.
But please,
happy to.
And the main reason, I'll just explain why content creators want 5 stars. It's not about being, validating. It's because Spotify and Apple, their algorithms will promote podcasts with high ratings to other listeners.
Correct.
And then new people get to hear us. It will automatically promote. So the higher our rating, the more chance that new people will hear us.
Correct.
And share the love.
Please do.
And if you've got any stories or anything or feedback or, thoughts, contributions.
And if you want to sponsor us, so I can get a free
Yes, if you want to throw money at us, then, you will get you can come directly for us for that because we don't have a publisher. No. So you don't need to go through any publishers. So therefore, you will get your advertising at a heavily discounted rate because there aren't any publishers to take a cut.
Correct.
Any money that you put towards advertising on this podcast and advertising or just sponsorship, if you want to support us financially to pay for things such as our hosting, our equipment, the software and things that we pay the things that we subscribe to, Sky's dates, to get good stories, then just feel free to throw money at us. We can send it to my PayPal if you want. So, that'll do.
Cool.
And we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
done.
We'll do. That's
See you
becoming
later.
like your weekly sign off at the moment.
See you later when I go and hang out with the misso.
Catch ya. See ya. Thank you for listening to In My Lounge Room. Intro music written and performed, recorded, composed, blah, blah, blah by Damien McKay. As always, I implore you, go and find me on your favourite streaming platform and listen to my original music. Thank you.